Welcome back to the Block Fuel podcast. We have a special episode today. We're going to be getting through all of my favorite East Denver side events. So we have Mona, Thomas, and Travis from various events that we'll talk about here today. But if you guys are heading to East Denver and you want to check out something fun, something unique, here we have three founders of amazing events that we're excited to talk to today. The first one we'll be introducing is Travis John from RWA Day. And Travis, we had a blast with you guys last year. So we came out, the media partners for RWA Day last year. One of the coolest events that I've ever been a part of. Honestly, like most of the time I'll go and check out a few speakers, but this was an event that I personally went to and everyone was not on their phones. They were glued to the speakers. So Travis, for those that don't know though, can you quickly introduce yourself and what is RWA Day?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Great to be with friends here. Yeah, RWA Day really came out of this thinking that the acronym, of course, real world assets and tokenization. We know that the world is being tokenized maybe quicker than we all even imagined potentially with a lot of the things that are changing. But where this came from is really about celebrating the real world use cases. So we played with the acronym of RWA as calling it Real World Adoption Day. And we really focused heavily on this whole idea of celebrating real world use cases and having partners and speakers and programming that focused on celebrating this. So not just saying we're building this, but actually bringing their client and saying, this is exactly what we have built and this is what we're doing and this is how we've done it. So we're on the second iteration of RWA Day. Our first one, as you mentioned, we had an amazing time. Blockfuel was our media partner and looking forward to having you back again this year. East Denver is obviously a much bigger footprint. So we're really excited about, how big this event is and all the momentum going into it. And I'd say one of the things we like to do is we love to build the programming around the movie premiere style. Like you mentioned, we don't want people on their phones. We want people really excited to come and check out the agenda and see the speakers and learn things. And I'll share more as we get into like the narratives and things we've been looking at this year, but really excited for the next year at East Denver and to share more during this call.
Yeah, real quickly. I think you guys had around like 150 last year. You told me, I think 650 or so had signed up already. So what types of companies are coming? And again, for our listeners that are curious about coming to RWA Day, what should they really expect from the speakers?
Yeah. So last time we had 186 was the actual toll count that we caught from coming in the door. We have over 750 attendees this time around. And we have a really interesting dynamic. Again, it's not just about the buy side and the sell side being both equally represented. So like the sell side, you find a lot of that where you have projects that are telling everybody about what they build and how great it is. But we need also the allocators. We need the media partners just like you. So we really focus heavily on all the aspects. So infra, PR, media, all the different companies. And I'd say like the themes, just real quickly, we've seen a lot of the what's missing in RWA is kind of be the theme that's come up this year. So this is things like Thomas is building, like rollups, interoperability, smoother Web3 integrations, hiding the wires, finding like the DeFi mullet, so to speak. Lots of verifications, proof, a lot of zero knowledge type of applications being built. Because where we're seeing a lot of this is we're seeing institutions coming. They want some things to obviously be, they're building on public blockchains for the most part. We're seeing that happen. But we do need to protect PI data. We need to protect things across that transaction, right? So like the zero knowledge area has really driven a lot of this. And I think that's what we're also seeing drive a lot of the interest in Appchain Day and Rollup Day and things like that too, is that we just see a lot of this interest in building out Web3 specific purpose-built chains and also purpose-built solutions where you can control the data and you can stay compliant.
And Travis, again, I can't reiterate to all of the people listening, this is where like business gets done. There's not the costumes that you'll see out at East Denver. People are pretty much in button downs. And this is going to be all day on Wednesday, right? The 26th?
Yep, all day on Wednesday, noon to 5. And like you said, I mean, we actually sell against the whole side event, like narrative. In some ways, I know like you either are completely on the Mona side of the comedy side, or you're in the B2B side, but we stay in our lane. We're very focused on the B2B side and activations. And I think that's why people do show up. And I think that's what's driven the attendance for these types of events is that they're not stuffy and they're very approachable, but we're very much focused on activation.
Love it. And Thomas, so you're with Zeeve and you're running the Rollup Day. Super excited about that one as well. This one's new. I haven't attended last year. Would love to hear what you guys are building over at Zeeve very quickly, and then why you guys built Rollup Day.
Yeah. So Zeeve is Rollup is a service and an Appchain is a service provider. So we have about 50 plus mainnets running at this point in time and 300 plus testnets that we manage and run. We work with some of the big stacks like Polygon, CDK, ZK Sync, Arbitrum, OPStack, Avalanche, Parachains, and what have you. So East Denver is going to be our third edition of the Rollup Day. Now, we had our first edition at Token 2049 in Singapore sometime in September last year, which was amazing. We had people like Stephen Goldfeder, the CEO of Arbitrum, as a keynote speaker. And we followed that up with Rollup Day at DevCon in Bangkok in November, which was an even bigger success. We had Ed Felton, who's a co-founder at Arbitrum, and Mark Boyron, who's the CEO of Polygon, as keynote speakers. And after the Asia run, we said, hey, it's time for us to get into the US market. And Denver would be the right occasion for us. So we've expanded the scope, and now we call it the Rollup and Appchain Day, actually. We've expanded the scope to include app chains because we see a massive opportunity with app chains too, particularly with what Avalanche has just launched. Avalanche has just launched their L1s, which is at a 90% cost lower than the earlier subnets. So Avalanche has actually come on board as a co-host to the Rollup and Appchain Day, and we are super excited to have this on the 28th of February at the Hilton City Center from 11 a.m. to about 3:30 p.m. And it's going to be a great blend of some keynotes, panel discussions, lots of networking, and it's going to be a Shark Tank style event. It's not going to be these boring 40-minute panels. They're all going to be maybe 5 panelists, but just 20 minutes. So everyone is to the point, right up there, debate style panels as well. So we'll be targeting about 150 odd founders and basically builders who are specifically looking up rollups or app chains. That's the target audience.
Amazing. Thomas, thank you. I'm excited to join you guys on that one as well. It should be a great time. And last but certainly not least, we have my friend Mona. So Mona, you came to me from Web3 as a joke. I'd never had a comedian necessarily reach out to me. And so I was really excited when you said, hey, like we'd love to partner with you guys. We're going to be doing these across the globe. I know you guys have Hong Kong coming up as well. And so for those that don't know Mona, she, I think you said 5 different times, have opened for Jay Leno, Tony Hinchcliffe from Kill Tony. You said you're friendly with him from the Comedy Store days. And so for those that don't know Mona, get to know her. She's going to be at a lot of different shows. But what is Web3 as a joke?
I appreciate that. Guys, I have been paying Avi in empanadas. That's why he makes these lovely intros for me. So I've been a stand-up comic for about 15 years now. And I've been a touring stand-up comic. And yes, I've opened for Jay Leno like probably 7 to 8 times at least. I started Web3 as a joke back in December of 2022. Gosh, it's been a while. And we basically do crypto comedy roasts all around the world. That's what we do. We made our UK debut last October. Within the 2 years of our existence, we've quadrupled in size. We are going to be at Consensus Hong Kong. That event is sold almost 6 or 7 times over already. So it's a pretty significant turnout that we're having in Consensus Hong Kong. And then, of course, because I'm a crazy, ambitious lunatic, I'm doing Denver literally the week after. How I'm going to manage that, I have no idea. By the way, I'm not trying to look cool. I am rocking a bit of an infection in my eye. I didn't want to give you guys the full Monty here, my infection over here. So I decided to wear glasses and soften the blow. So just so you guys know. So we're going to be at the Denver Comedy Lounge on Tuesday, February 25th. I'm very excited about that. That's going to be, our event is going to run from 5:30 to 10. So our objective with Web3 is a joke is very simple. We want to help with the mass adoption through comedy. One of the key things that I've learned as a stand-up comic when I got into this is that most people are really intimidated. They're very intimidated. There's 2 big problems with the mass adoption for crypto and Web3. A, people don't understand it, and B, people don't trust it. So we figured out that, hey, most of the time when people want to come, they come to comedy shows, they're relaxed. They're like, hey, I trust that this is going to be a fun, engaging thing. So we found that through comedy, most of the people that came and watched our shows did not find it intimidating. They found it a conversation as an open dialogue to be able to be like, hey, I actually understood that. That's one of the biggest feedbacks that we get. That wasn't that spooky for me. I didn't feel scared about it. Hey, by the way, can you help me invest some money in Bitcoin or whatever? Can you help me? Well, how do I get a wallet? And that has a pretty big driving factor for us to be able to do this. Because, I mean, look, I love blockchain. I read the white paper for Bitcoin back when the pandemic hit, and I absolutely fell in love. My neighbor introduced me to Bitcoin. And so many of the problems that we face in the business of comedy can be resolved with blockchain, as it is the case for many other industries. And I feel like what blockchain brings to the world, and especially what it brings to comedy, when it comes to ownership, when it comes to naming your own price, when it comes to not running into so many of the problems that we run into as stand-up comedians and have been running into for so long, this is the future. Blockchain is here to stay, and I'm very happy and I'm very excited to help drive the adoption any which way I can, and that's why I started Web3 as a joke.
Amazing. Yeah. So that's going to be Tuesday night. I know a lot of people are coming in. And so I fly in Tuesday and I'm coming right over to Web3 as a joke. And it should be a phenomenal time.
Well, Thomas are showing up too. I know they got their own days going
absolutely.
on. So.
Yeah.
Where can they buy tickets?
They can go to web3asajoke.io. We are also on event and we are also on. So just put in Crypto Comedy Roast Night or put in Web3's Joke and we'll pop right up.
I'll help everyone out and I'll put in the comments. Super excited to see you guys at ETH Denver. This should be a blast. And if you haven't signed up for side events, these 3 are ones that you do not want to miss. So thanks again for joining and see you guys in Denver.
Thank you.
We'll see you in Denver.